Hello, everybody. Suzanne Kellner-Zinck with Dawn Visions Hypnosis here to talk about how relationships can cause overwhelm. And by relationships, I mean any kind of relationship. So let us go through the types of relationships we have, the problems that can arise, and what you can do in order to alleviate your overwhelm in each of them. First comes partners. It's interesting that many times people who are not in a relationship, don't have a partner, really want a partner. But there's things that come along with having a partner, such as feeling obligated to go to all those family events, some which you may really want to, and others you may wish to not be a part of, but you're obligated to go anyway. And then there's these issues where Christmas housewarmings, engagement parties, baby showers, weddings, etc. will usually mean you need to bring a gift of some sort. And you may not have the money to bring a gift for all of these events. People are going through pretty hard times financially these days, as I hear about it all the time, and I've certainly gone through my own. So, what do you do in these situations? Well, it's really important to have conversations with the folks involved and tell them what is going on in your inner mind. Because your inner mind is letting you know that you're feeling resentful, that you feel obligated, and that you don't want to have to do these things anymore. In many cases, the conversations will go a lot easier than you think, and things will be okay. Because the reality is that if they're not okay with your feelings and your own reality, maybe they're not really a person who you need to have in your life any longer. Because one of the other magical things that happens in life, stated by feng shui, when you let go of one thing, another better thing of its like kind comes in to fill its place. I know, because I've had this happen in many areas of my life through many years. What do you do if you have a partner who knows how to trigger you? Because they know how to trigger you as well as your siblings do. Well, again, if it's getting to the point where it feels really disrespectful, they're not listening to you, they get off on it, maybe it's time to leave that relationship. Seriously, people, there's no need to put up with anyone's garbage. None. And if you have a problem with that, it's time to get some professional help so you can learn how to have appropriate boundaries so you don't attract people who do these negative things to you any longer. Siblings can also be a problem because they know how to trigger you. They've known you ever since you were a kid. And in this case, again, a conversation is necessary. You can decide how often, if at all, you want to visit with that sibling. You may decide to move away so you don't have to deal with these situations any longer. There are ways of creating distance and boundaries. You need to take the action to make that happen. What about when you're having a really bad financial time and your family will not help you? I have a really good friend. I've known her for 30 years now, pretty close to. And unfortunately, when teaching became a lot less fun, she used to like to play a lot of games with her kids. She taught French to middle school kids. And it was a lot of fun. She'd have candy for them if they got the answers correct and stuff of this nature. And when that No Child Left Behind law came into being, all the fun went out of teaching, and certain requirements were necessary. And mostly it had to do with passing a bunch of tests. And she got into a lot of trouble because she didn't want to conform. She got demoted. She got a lot less money in her pension than the 20 plus years of teaching should have warranted at that time. And it caused problems. And her brother wasn't willing to help her out. Her water was shut off for a period. Finally, some friends of hers helped her through the difficult times because this whole situation really did traumatize her. It made it hard for her to find other work when she lost her job teaching at one point. So, during these times of need, we find out who our real friends are and who our, I don't know, find whether friends are. Good thing to know. What do you do if you have a partner or boyfriend and they won't allow you to meet any of their friends or family? This is a red flag, people. If they don't want you to know the people in their life, they don't like you enough, never mind love you, to be worthy of your time and emotions. Break it off. They're just using you. So these are the major issues in relationships that we need to contend with all the time, as well as children. Sometimes children can be overwhelming, especially adult children. And again, you need to make a decision as to whether or not you need to have them in your life. If they're not respectful of you and they don't want to do anything but use you for whatever you can give them, time, wisdom, money, whatever it is, you need to make decisions for yourself. For the younger kids, it's really more a matter of finding out why they're upset and helping them to calm themselves down. More often than not, if you give them two options, they will be happy. Because starting at the age of 2 is when we are starting to individuate and find ourselves and do not want to be told what to do. That's why kids go through the terrible 2s. If it's more complicated than that, and it's really problematic behavior, you really do need to get some professional help and find out what's going on with them at the root cause of the problem. I know from doing hypnotism with many kids that often they don't really know what's causing the problem. Even teenagers. I had this really cool teenager who came to see me because she knew it was her unconscious mind that was bothering her. And in this particular case, she was unwilling to go to school. For 3 years, she would not go to school. Her mother would drive her to school and she would not get out of that car, and she did not know why. Turned out that it went back to when she was 6 years old and her father was dying of brain cancer, and he was in the house with all of the equipment in the house. She didn't realize what a help she was to her father during those really bad times because her older siblings were spooked out by all the equipment in his bedroom at that time. And she really had some really loving gestures that she had shared with him during those times that she forgot about. Her mom reminded her of all of this. She would share her stuffed animals with him and tell him stories. It was really quite cute. Ultimately, I believe it was a 2.5-hour session, clearing all of these issues to figure out what was going on with her. And then the following session, she came back and she had her own treatment plan. And the treatment plan for going back to school is really simple. Monday, she'd go take her first course. Tuesday, she'd do her first and second course. Wednesday, her second and third. Wednesday was a problem, as I found out when her mother emailed me after she had gone back to school and got through the year doing really well. And actually getting back involved in soccer. She hadn't played soccer in 3 years, and it was something she really loved doing. So sometimes we need outside help to help us figure out what's going on. I hope you found this to be helpful and to realize that having healthy emotional boundaries is really, really important. Oh, I forgot one that's really important. I had a couple of clients referred to me by my acupuncturist friends. They were having migraine headaches. And the reason for that is because in both cases, their parents thought that they could invade their family's life whenever they wanted to see their grandchildren. not true. These are young children. They were on a schedule, and they needed to be on that schedule, and it needed to be respected. So in this case, boundaries were drawn, letting the grandparents know that it wasn't up to them to decide when they were going to visit, that they needed to make a call and make a time that fit the children's schedule. With that, the headaches disappeared. So that's another thing we need to understand. When we do not take care of these emotional issues, these feelings of overwhelm, we need to understand that sometimes they can create physical problems. And they're not physical problems in the sense that a medical doctor can take care of. They are somaticized situations that need to be understood for the signal they are to tell us that there's something there that we need to take care of and take care of now. All right, I believe that's all that I wanted to cover in this particular video. I am sure that you found this to be fairly helpful, and you can find my contact information in the description below, and buy me a coffee if you want to help me to continue making these videos, because they do take time. And as always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time. Bye-bye.